James Monroe will soon be 80. He lives alone, is diabetic, and at night needs a breathing machine to survive. Ill for much of his working life, James is reliant on subsidised social housing, his flat owned by Stonewater, a not-for-profit housing association. Stonewater last year wrote to dozens of tenants in James's block demanding a 63% rise in accommodation costs.
That is what I wrote when it all happened. We didn't believe it. There were people walking around looking lost. There was no explanation. There was no warning. One or two hinted that there were going to be increases.
But 63%?
It's unaffordable.
A typical tenant in James's building, Pembroke House, faced a weekly rent rise from £166 to £271.20. That's 63% more, an extra £5,260 a year. While accommodation costs were around 11% higher, Stonewater justified the bulk of the increase by referring to higher energy and electricity prices, for which tenants, crucially, can't claim extra housing benefit.
Never felt lonely there.
Long-time Pembroke House resident Jenny Fiddler was, in her words, so petrified by this huge rent rise, she moved to more cramped housing elsewhere, away from her friends. Jenny was forced to give away most of her furniture, as her new accommodation away from numerous friends is much smaller. This 78-year-old widow says news of Stonewater's sudden rent hike made her cry and cry.
Devastating. I tell you now, and not many people know this, I had a complete mental breakdown. So don't go any further. Hurt. But I'm getting over it now. I'm surviving. But it's hard. Hard at my age.
Officials at Wiltshire Council are angry at how Stonewater is treating its tenants in Salisbury. One of the larger housing associations, Stonewater manages 36,000 homes across Britain, turning over hundreds of millions of pounds. The leader of Wiltshire Council says he was absolutely furious at Stonewater's 63% rent increase at Pembroke House.
I think that they're not behaving like a social landlord. They're a charitable organisation. They exist to provide a safety net, to have a social purpose. And instead, they and many other large housing associations are increasingly behaving like developers. They're not focusing on the people we're there to look after.
And the top people pay themselves quite a lot of money as well.
They certainly do. You're looking at something pushing $300,000 for the chief execs of these organisations.
In the not-for-profit sector?
Absolutely, yes.
Stonewater told us this. We understand customers' concerns about the increases in rent and service charges last year and have a wide range of support in place for anyone struggling. We've been working with customers across all our schemes to reduce energy use, which makes up the bulk of service charges. James and some other Pembroke House tenants are appealing Stonewater's price rises. They face an uncertain future, worried about the roof above their heads. Liam Halligan, GB News, in Salisbury.